Electronic fraud in Nigeria's financial sector has increased dramatically over the last 5 years. The sum lost to fraud increased each year from 3 billion naira in 2019 to more than 14 billion naira in 2022. The amount lost to fraud as of July ending this year was about 10 billion naira, already more than half of last year's figure. This is a worrisome trend, representing a 377% increase in total sum lost to fraud in the period under review. Nigeria Electronic Fraud Forum (NEF), a body formed by the Central Bank of Nigeria, is concerned about the heightened incidence of e-fraud and brings together relevant stakeholders to actively and proactively react to this challenge and safeguard the integrity of the electronic payment channels. NEF held its Q3 general meeting a fortnight ago in Lagos, where new strategies for combating e-fraud in a cashless environment were discussed. The Nigeria Police Force was also represented at the forum and has proposed a solution to electronic fraud in the country. We have that and more in today's package, but that's after this message from the CBN. Stay tuned.
Oh, I see. Just hold on in that case. Let me call out my PIN. It is 41...
Uncle, please stop.
Stop what?
You're giving someone else your personal identification number PIN?
Not someone else. It's from my bank.
Please hang up, Uncle. That's a fraudster.
That's not true. But they call out my full name. I am sure this is from my bank.
Uncle, no bank is ever going to call you to ask for your personal identification number PIN, your mobile banking password, or your card verification code, CVC.
But it sounded so genuine.
Yes, hackers and fraudsters always sound genuine. But please, Uncle, don't fall for their bait. Don't respond to any phony emails, text message, SMS, and don't click on any link you're not sure of. Even if they call your date of birth or your BVN, don't give them your security details. If you suspect any issue with your account, please go to your bank.
Oh, I see.
This message is from the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Welcome back. The Nigeria Electronic Fraud Forum (NEF) is a dedicated platform established to combat electronic fraud within the country. It serves as a collaborative forum where various stakeholders, including financial institutions, law enforcement agencies, and relevant industry players, come together to address and mitigate risks posed by electronic fraud during NEF's third quarter general meeting on Friday, 18th August, at Eco Hotel and Suites, Victoria Island, Lagos. The Nigeria Police Force made a presentation on effective investigation of e-fraud and proposed solutions, delivered by Deputy Superintendent of Police, DSP Wina Martins, of the Force Criminal Investigation Department. Here's this presentation and the question and answer session that followed.
In today's world, post-COVID-19, everybody is migrating to digital channels for transaction. And the resultant effect of this are enormous numbers of losses, both to the financial institutions and banks in general. And that is why we have e-fraud detection in Nigeria. The Nigerian Police Force understands this challenge and has been able to come up with a digital solution to battle this tit for tat. The penetration of digital technology in the financial industry and the growing use of mobile digital banking services in Nigeria, Africa, and across the globe have skyrocketed. This has created possibility for numerous cases of impersonation, cyber financial fraud, and money laundering. 55% of Nigerian e-banking customers, like other speakers have said, have been victims of fraud. And the statistics and the figures, I won't bore you with those. Some of the channels that these criminal syndicates are able to utilize to perpetrate these frauds include, but are not limited to, ATMs, web, mobile banking platforms, bank branches, and POS operators, or point of sales terminals. Now, these increasing numbers is still going to keep rising because everybody currently, both those that are educated and those that are not, are migrating to digital channels for transactions. So why detecting this fraud is very important in our economy today? For most businesses online, there is a need for real-time fraud detection. That means the moment this person is, okay, as you are here now, probably you just want to make a transfer innocently to your mom in the village or something. As you are doing that transfer, somebody is also there, seated on his laptop, waiting for that transaction to happen. And the next thing is already calling your mom in the village. You're not even aware of what is happening. Telling her that kindly provide your ATM PIN and all that. So we, as the Nigerian police force, understand this challenge. We understand that so many of these criminal syndicates are capitalizing on the fact that most of these uneducated customers, and even the educated ones like me and you, or even per se, even if I'm not educated, we are utilizing this medium effectively, and they are also working day in, day out to ensure that they keep penetrating and defrauding more people. So 52% of enterprise-level companies experienced fraud in the past 24 months. All of these statistics still is pointing to the need why we really need to be able to detect this fraud, get them in their acts, and also ensure that both internal and external perpetrators of these fraud issues are identified and taken out of the ecosystem. The Nigerian police force has been able to come up with a solution, and that solution is the MPF Vigilance Solution. Now, this solution is a system. It's a very easy to use system. It's designed for everybody in Nigeria. We are constitutionally empowered to prevent and detect crime. We are constitutionally empowered to apprehend offenders. We are constitutionally empowered to prevent and preserve law and order. We are also constitutionally empowered to protect life and properties. That being said, the Nigerian Police Force has created this solution that you can see displayed here for the general public. This solution, MPF Vigilance Solution, is a system developed by the MPF ICT department. It's very, very easy, like you can see. The MPF Vigilance app, the moment you sign into this application as a customer, now somebody is waiting for you to do a transaction to defraud you. The moment you receive any call or you get any debit that is not authorized by you, you can quickly log on to this solution, send a report. We receive the report in real time immediately. And this has unmatched coverage, meaning it reaches out to everybody in Nigeria. Everybody, we all have smartphones. So having a smartphone gives you the ability to also work against these fraudsters. With this solution, we have at the back end created something that would connect every bank in Nigeria, the Nigerian Police Force, and every other sister agencies involved in this tit for tat against these criminal syndicates. This solution you are seeing here enables us to perform post-time transaction tracking. So you have reported to us that so and so amount has left your account without your authorization. We immediately begin to perform post-time transaction tracking. The application in itself has face authentication and several other methods that we've put in place. So immediately you notice you've been defrauded, you quickly report. Immediately you report. We are receiving that report immediately and we are taking actions. Now, some of our action steps, our action process, I would discuss that better, probably as we continue engagement. But the summary of what we intend to do is to collaborate. We are looking at collaboration. The Nigerian Police Force cannot work in isolation. We need the collaboration and partnership of all banks. We need you to come together so that as we are tracking these fraudsters, we know where that bank account that the money has entered. It has left, for instance, I won't call bank names, but it has left Mr. A's account and it's in Mr. B's account. We've noticed that immediately we send in memo to the B's account holder where is domiciled, and we'll inform them of a lien should be placed in that account immediately. Now, the banks are empowered to put lien of 48 hours in every account that is under investigation. Now, the police is ready as an enforcer of the law to ensure that as soon as that is placed, we can quickly investigate that criminal and ensure that after the criminal is identified, we go after them. Now, gone are the days where maybe after 2 weeks that you've been defrauded, you've gone to this, you've gone to that, nobody's listening to your plea. Right now, we are saying immediately it happens, tell us, we take action. We take that criminal out of the ecosystem because some of these people feel they are invincible. They feel they can do these things and go scot-free. But the Nigerian Police Force, constitutionally empowered to ensure that this trend stops, would immediately ensure that that criminal does not just return the money back to where he took it from, but is also made to face the bitter part of the law. Some of the benefits of this solution is to ensure that there is real-time fraud reports. You can report immediately to us in real time. There is reduced TAT for investigation. Now, I believe we have bank leaders and directors here. There is a TAT for every report. And some of these processes takes a long time. Now we are saying that, no, you don't have to wait 2 weeks to get your money back. We are telling you that immediately that fraud incident occurs, we are ready to get that person and bring him to book. So there is reduced turnaround time for every report and investigation. Customers' loyalty and belief in fund safety. Every bank customer that walks into the bank wants to believe that his money is safe. Am I right? Now, we are now giving you the assurance through the backing of the Nigerian police force that we are ready to protect your customers on your behalf. There is reduction in bank fraud through database deterrence. You commit a crime, you feel you are invincible, we pick you out of the ecosystem, we populate you in our database. There is a whole lot to that. Now, part of what this solution is going to ensure is that banks can achieve secure and effective customers onboarding. The next person that is coming to your bank to create an account, you know if he's a fraudster or not, and you can take the needed countermeasures. That's part of what the core benefit of this system has been created to ensure. So nobody is innocent anymore. You all have identity. If you're a fraudster, you're a fraudster. Let's call it speed a speed. It's time for action. And that's what the Nigerian Police Force is all about. Effective and trusted account protection. Now, in 24 hours, we have a team of officers dedicated to this system to ensure that every customer in Nigeria, your account is protected 24 hours. Anytime we receive any reports through this system, we immediately swing into action. We are here to collaborate with all agencies, just like some of the previous speakers had said. We are here to work with them to ensure that this solution is not just created in isolation, but it's created and designed to ensure that through our capacity as the Nigerian Police Force, we're able to secure and protect every customer's account in Nigeria, irrespective of your geolocation. What we want from you as financial institutions and banks, we need your connectivity to all bank fraud decks. We want to work with your fraud decks. We want you to adopt this system and this solution. We want to collaborate with you, and we need your support. Thank you.
My name is Dr. David Isiawe. I'm the General Manager at EcoBank and President of the Information Security Society of Africa. I think I like a lot of the things that I saw about the app. And then we tried to look for the app online, on Play Store. You know, it wasn't there, so we couldn't find it. All right, that's the first thing. And then secondly, I saw there that two things that struck me. The first one is that from the presentation, you know, you said using the app and the data and information etc., you can actually recover funds, right? So my question is, the presentation that was done, is it purely theoretical, normative, or that solution is already in use and monies are being recovered? We would like to know. And then secondly, you also presented, you know, the presenter said the police can take out criminals from the ecosystem. And I noted here that this is very interesting. We would like to know how that works. How can the police take out criminals? Because in our own society, the Information Security Society, called ISAN, this is what we are looking for. We had a heavy debate yesterday at the NEF Governing Council that the police, we need them to help us to actually work and get these criminals away from the cyberspace. So let's understand how the police can take out criminals using, you know, this new solution, and then, you know, how this app works. How can we, you know, have it on our phones, etc. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
still for him is to note that it's not just the banks. They need to include the fintechs in trying to onboard everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, for the police also, you just mentioned about consumers that can use smartphones. But all of this happens with those who don't have smartphones. So what are you going to do concerning those who don't have smartphones in your application?
The app is now on Play Store. The IGP will launch the app very soon. So until we are ready, through collaboration with all banks, then the app will be made available to every Nigerian. That's the first. Then second, talking about fintech, the goal of this solution is to ensure that not just banks are integrated, but also fintechs, because some of these fraudsters also perpetrate fraud using some of all those fintech channels. So we intend also to get the fintechs involved fully. Then I think another question here was, what measure is put in place to ensure innocent persons are not affected? Now, we are not in a hurry to label anybody as a fraudster. We intend to follow every necessary process that exists, and that's why we are here. So we are here to ensure proper KYC is conducted, and anybody who eventually is identified as a fraudster is not just going to go free, he or she will be labeled. So in future, that person, when the person is still coming into contact with us, we know already that we've identified this person before. So be rest assured that no innocent Nigerian will be picked as a fraudster without due process. And I believe the bank plays a major role in ensuring things follow procedure. Now, there are several channels in banking. We have both digital channels and we have the USSD code. So as we progress in this solution, we intend to inculcate that into the system, where by the click of just 3 buttons, you can report even without a smartphone. So that has already also been put in place to ensure that it's also, everybody is incorporated into the system.
This is a new, very brilliant initiative. Even if the idea has just been presented, I believe that in operationalization, we should all work together to make this a success. They are sitting at the center, and I think they have the capacity to make it work. So we shouldn't be skeptical about what they can do. It's all about the banks, the fintechs collaborating and providing all the needed support that the Nigerian police needs to make it work. Thank you very much.
Thank you for staying tuned. This is From the CBN, a weekly program that brings to you reports and expert analysis of the actions, policies, events, and economic initiatives of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. Still on the Q3 General Meeting of the Nigeria Electronic Fraud Forum NEF, institutional collaborators examined the missing link in combating e-fraud in a cashless environment during the panel discussion session moderated by a Deputy Director of the Central Bank of Nigeria and Head Oversight and Compliance Division, Payment System Management Department, Mr. Taiwo Oladimeji. Here's the excerpt.
I will go to Dr. Badari. What practical advice would you give or profile to businesses, banks, and other operators to be able to successfully combat fraud in a cashless environment?
Before I provide my recommendation, I would like to start with a very controversial question, both to all the financial entities within the ecosystem, be it a bank, be it a mobile money operator, fintech, everyone in that ecosystem. That the question is, do we really want to fight fraud? I actually think, as a consultant, believe me sincerely, to be honest, I think it's no. Because what I'm thinking is no, and I'm very glad that Mr. Bumere used the word, because the greatest undoing of most of the people in that ecosystem is that word risk assessment. Because what am I saying is, yes, the topic today is new strategies for combating e-fraud. When we talk about new trends, new threats, are we actually seeing anything new that we have not seen in the last 1 decade? Because kudos to the Central Bank of Nigeria, and I can say kudos because the IT blueprint for everyone within the financial ecosystem. I think it was launched in 2011, if my memory serves me very correctly, which is over a decade. All the things now, before you can do anything now, you have to be ISO certified, PCI. Yes, every consultant, we're all making money. But I can tell you that fraud, yes. So while there are two monsters, maybe we need to there's a distinction between cybersecurity threat and when we experience fraud. Yes, weaknesses in cybersecurity controls is an enabler for fraud. But the reality is, you can have good cybersecurity and then you still have fraud. If you have breakdown in your internal control system and your governance structure. And I'm going to explain what I mean quickly. Because what I've seen, the top 5 things that I've seen in the last, even let's say early this year, most of the banks, most of the even mobile operators, fintechs that have actually experienced fraud. You see, number one, fundamentally, you know that it's not right for, if I'm a system from a branch to actually connect to your server farm. And you wonder, you go to a lot of places with all the sophisticated technologies that they have. And it's still possible for a system from the branch to connect to critical servers in the server farm. In fact, I did my first exam in internet working, maybe 1998. The first thing we learned is, they call it VLAN. It is fundamental to how you set up infrastructure. But today, as we speak, all those things are still happening. You have service accounts. But guess what? Because there is no time, there are a plethora of issues which are very fundamental. But guess what the banks will say? Or not just the banks, even the fintech. The next thing is, we have done risk assessment because of business impact analysis. We want to accept this risk. In fact, they will document it. Even as a consultant, when you're trying to say, because we call it malicious ignorance. Malicious ignorance is when you accept a risk, because even in most of those standards, it is clearly stated that before you accept a risk, you must, in fact, the word in ISO 27001 is you must knowingly and objectively. So that means you must understand the impact, the end goal of that risk. But of course, the professionals just say, risk assessment. Business impact analysis, they'll say, no, this service account, we are okay with it. And guess what? That was actually why that guy that wrote an article, I think about 3 months ago on LinkedIn, could audaciously say he can hack all the banks. Of course, not just the banks, even the fintech, because all those bad guys know that the banks have all the risk assessment approach. You are still storing service accounts. You still have, in fact, some service accounts, since they have set them up, never expired. And now this jackpot syndrome, guess what? Even some big banks, you will see those guys have jackpot, but they still have access to those service accounts.
Oh, I see. Just hold on in that case. Let me call out my PIN. It is 41...
Uncle, please stop.
Stop what?
You're giving someone else your personal identification number PIN?
Not someone else. It's from my bank.
Please hang up, Uncle. That's a fraudster.
That's not true. But they call out my full name. I am sure this is from my bank.
Uncle, no bank is ever going to call you to ask for your personal identification number PIN, your mobile banking password, or your card verification code, CVC.
But it sounded so genuine.
Yes. Hackers and fraudsters always sound genuine. But please, Uncle, don't fall for their bait. Don't respond to any phony emails, text message, SMS, and don't click on any link you're not sure of.
Even if they call your date of birth or your BVN, don't give them your security details.
If you suspect any issue with your account, please go to your bank.
Oh, I see.
This message is from the Central Bank of Nigeria.
That's the package from the CBN this week. Be careful not to fall for any fraudulent recruitment portal or loan scheme advertisement purportedly from the Central Bank of Nigeria. Get your information from trusted sources always. Reports are reserved banking issues to the CBN Consumer Protection Department using the email cpd@cbn.gov.ng. Attach relevant documents. Call the CBN Contact Center on the phone line +234 700 2255 226. Local call rates may apply. Write to us through the email address fromthecbn@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and X for updates and to watch uploaded episodes of the program. We invite you to join us again next time. I am Uliye Misi Dada. Stay safe and bye for now.